Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 22 of the Sam Hossack Media Podcast. Our guest today just finished as the captain of the Bemidji State University women's hockey team. As a huge outdoor girl with love for fishing and hunting, and is Arian Frankel's best friend, please welcome to the show, Makayla Langei.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll jump right into things here. You attended Chautauqua St. Mary in high school. Take us through your years there and some of the friendships you kind of started out there.
Yes, sir. I went there my sophomore through senior year. I was fortunate enough to actually be roommates with one of my best friends growing up, Alex Woken, and then playing with Patty Marshall, who was another one of my best friends. Played together since we were 8 years old. And also playing West Coast Selects and some other summer teams, was able to meet a lot of new people, but also kind of knew who others were, and just the uh, characteristic of the whole school and the atmosphere, and everybody kind of having that buy-in of wanting to be there, wanting to be better, wanting everybody else to be better, was just amazing. And it was honestly some of the best years of my life, so I'm very thankful for it.
Now, you played with some top collegiate players now, like Arian Frankel, just to name one. Just talk about some of the friendships you kind of started out at that school and have continued to carry today.
Yeah, Aaron obviously coming off huge year. Patty Kaz, goalie of the year, and their team making it to the championship game is unbelievable. Along with there's a bunch of girls I played with that played at Wisconsin, the Gophers, Ohio, just all those different places, which is amazing, especially being WCHA and seeing those girls either in the league or out east. But with Aaron, especially, I go to New York every year pretty much and visit her and her family for a week and some other friends that are out there. And then she comes here and actually goes fishing with me um, every once in a while over 4th of July. So that's pretty awesome. And it's incredible to see just the people that we've become and our friendship evolve with everybody that I've met from high school to now. And then I'm very interested to see how much it develops in the years to come.
Absolutely. Now, is there a sport in high school that you didn't play that you kind of wish you had of?
Um, I pretty much just played soccer and golf, but I was always super intrigued with tennis as well. That kind of overlapped with soccer, but at Shattuck for one of the years, there was four of us, I believe, that were able to play tennis a little bit too in the fall, so that was kind of cool. And I envy different girls that play volleyball. I'm only 5'6", so I'm pretty short, but I think that those girls that have the big verticals definitely have an advantage.
Now, probably a hard question to answer as a Division One athlete now, but favorite and least favorite subject in school?
Oh boy. Favorite subject would have to be biology. I love the sciences. And then least favorite would probably, I'm not sure. I'm not the best at math, so I'll say that for that reason. But I did have some pretty amazing math teachers that helped me out, especially Coach Boyk was my coach at Shattuck, and she also was my calculus teacher. So that was kind of cool, and she definitely helped me out a lot, which was awesome.
Absolutely. And before we get into D1, you're obviously a big outdoor girl. So take us through hunting and fishing and some of the spots you do that in.
Yeah, growing up in northern Minnesota, it's just kind of a given with my family and my friends, which is awesome being able to get outside and kind of have some other hobbies when you need to get away from school or hockey. I live on the Red Lake River. I'm from East Grand Forks, so definitely go catfishing there. Fish up at Lake of the Woods a lot, which is up by the tip of Minnesota. Go walleye fishing, northern muskie. I've been fishing on out of the Boston Harbor, which was cool, going striped bass and bluefish fishing. In early March, I was fortunate. I got to go marlin fishing in Hawaii, so that was cool. Did not catch anything. Saw a lot of whales though. It's called fishing, not catching, for a reason. And then with hunting, it's actually turkey season right now here, so I've been going out pretty often and haven't seen one that I wanted to shoot at yet, but I have seen quite a few, so that's been pretty cool to just be able to get outside and get in the fresh air and clear my mind of stuff.
Now, between you and Arian, who's caught the bigger fish?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I fish more than her, so I think I have that type of advantage, but um she definitely has caught some pretty big walleyes and stuff, and that's awesome to see. I love when my friends get interested in hunting or fishing and they hadn't really done it before. So I remember just one story about Erin is she caught a big fish. It was 24-inch walleye. And all of our family is like, oh, that's awesome. Like it's a throwback. Get to release it, like throw it back. She two-hand just chucked the fish halfway across the lake instead of just releasing it. And we were kind of all laughing about that, but it swam away right away. But yeah, that's definitely one that'll stick with me for a long time.
Now we'll transition into Bemidji. Take us through the process of committing, and when did you know that was the school for you?
Yeah, I think that when I was younger, you could pretty much commit at any age. There's girls committing as freshmen, sophomores, all through that. I, like many of the other girls, just talked to pretty much any school that was interested in you, just being that you want to play D1. And there's a lot of very good girls out there that are playing. I'm from Minnesota, so I wanted to stay um, WCHA, but there's definitely amazing schools out east that I was interested in. And Coach Scanlon was actually my high school coach for 2 years in East Side here. So already knowing him kind of going into it, and I knew a couple other girls. And then plus, my grandma and grandpa both went there when they were in college. My grandpa played hockey there in 62 to 66, I believe, so quite a while ago. But he played on the men's team there, and just being a little bit closer to home. Shattuck was 6 hours, Bemidji's less than two, so that definitely played into it. And I've been able to hunt and fish more in the last 4 years of my life at Bemidji and building friendships, playing hockey, than I had in the last 10 years. So that was pretty cool.
Now take us through your first college hockey game. Who was it against, and how did it go?
First college hockey game. I think we played Syracuse for a non-conference game. And I remember obviously you got the jitters and it's the first game and you're freshmen, so you're definitely looking towards the older girls and they're just, okay, just play your game. It's fine. Don't be nervous. And it was a non-conference game, so it was one of those where um, everybody's kind of getting a feel for things and it's not necessarily against your rival team. So that obviously changes a little bit when you play against those rival teams, but um, I'm not sure who scored, but there's a picture of Emma Terrace and I hugging, and Emma Terrace is actually my coach from one of our hockey games. So I think that's pretty cool too to be able to have her on our staff and has been able to play with her and been able to see both sides of that and learn different aspects. But that game is definitely one I won't forget, just being that it is your first one at Sanford in front of a whole bunch of fans and your family, and playing college hockey is just absolutely amazing. No matter what division you're in, you're still getting to play, and that's very amazing. I don't really know how else to explain it.
Absolutely. Now, what does a normal game day look like? Obviously, you've been a part of a normal season and a COVID season, so take us through what both a game day on those years would look like.
For me, yeah, I'm not really that superstitious. I just kind of go and along with what the other girls' superstitions are, if there's different things. But just normal day, wake up, have breakfast, and just kind of hang out. And if I have school, usually I'll do that. Um, Eat my lunch, go to the rink and skate if I'm able to. Definitely listen to music and just chat with the girls about different stuff. A lot of times, if it's a Saturday, I'll watch the Fridays game again before we have our team video. And then depending on the day, I mean, it kind of depends on what I'm going to eat pregame, what time we're playing. But then eat, go to the rink, and tape my stick every time. And a lot of the times while everybody else is playing sewer, spike ball, I usually just lay down in our facility and then just take a nap while everybody just listen to music and just kind of try and get focused.
Now, what is your most embarrassing moment in a game?
Oh gosh, in a game, I don't know. I have a lot of them. Not gonna lie. One of them would probably that I can remember at least is we were playing. Well, there's actually two. We were playing Ohio for one of them, and I absolutely ate it on the blue line. They had a breakaway, so I was skating head down, just trying to get back, and I'm not a very fast player. Um, and I ended up toe picking and going absolute head first into the boards, and they ended up scoring. So that was fun. And then another one that Coach Shane, he always points out the funnies in our videos, and I have a tendency to toe pick a lot. So there's one game where I think it was a two on two or something, and I toe picked skating backwards twice, turned around, tried skating forwards, toe picked again. So just a back-to-back thing. And I remember getting back to the bench and everybody's laughing. Coaches weren't too happy about that, but they didn't score, so that was good at least.
Yeah, at least they didn't score in the second one. The first one,
Yeah,
it's a goal again.
that's tough. Yeah.
Now, top 3 rinks that you've played in during your collegiate career and why?
Wisconsin, definitely one of the top ones. Just their fan. I love playing away games, so their fan section is just amazing. They always have a good atmosphere. The lighting is good, and obviously you're playing one of the top teams in the nation, so you're obviously getting going on that. Kind of a long road trip with 8 hours, but that's okay. Another one have to be the Gophers. A lot of my good friends, along with Wisconsin, but my best friends played on the Gophers, so going there and their Minnesota team. We're another Minnesota team, so that just always kind of with their fans as well played into it. And then Duluth would have to be probably the third, being that they're our rivals. So it was always nice to go there, just not necessarily because the rink was packed all the time, but just the type of game that you knew you were going to get. Last year we went into all those overtimes, played 128 minutes or something like that when we were there. And just that memory of playing in that rink. I know every time I step in there, I'll think of that. I'll think of playing with the girls, playing against their team. They have a lot of good players. So just I think those 3 rinks are probably have to be my top just from the experience, not necessarily what's going on with the rink itself.
Craziest fans to play in front of?
Oof. Probably Wisconsin. They like to chant a lot. And I know that they like to chant at our goalies a lot too. So just here, I mean, they're funny chirps, but yeah, they're just consistently screaming, yelling, cheering, which any great fan section will do. So that's awesome. But I'd probably have to say Wisconsin.
Favorite NCAA jersey and why?
Well, Bemidji's got the best ones, obviously. I like our thirds actually. I always love wearing greens, but our third jerseys have kind of that cursive writing in there. So that I think that's a little bit different than what a lot of schools end up doing.
Now, down in the States, usually there's kind of a rivalry between the men's and women's team. So at Bemidji, who's the better team, the men's or women's?
Well, this year our men's team made it to the national tournament, so I'd have to say them. We've never actually played each other though, so I guess nobody knows for sure, but they definitely have some very talented players. We do too, but them making it to that tournament this year was absolutely amazing. Our whole team was so excited for them, and they definitely deserved it.
Now, as you mentioned there, they make it to a national tournament and take down Wisconsin, who is one of the top seeds. So just take us through how much of an honor it was to see the men's team have the success they did in that tournament.
Yeah, we were all watching. It was definitely amazing. I know that there may have been some announcers and stuff that were trying to give excuses as to why Wisconsin may not have been beating Bemidji, and they were definitely the underdogs going into that. But uh, our men's team is just super hard workers, and uh, they were having themselves a year, so it was very nice. And I know all of us girls were freaking out cheering when they won that game, and when they won it by the amount that they did, I think it was kind of a awakening for a lot of people out east, especially for our men's side of things, where even seeing all 5 Minnesota teams make it was definitely something that I bet a lot of people didn't expect. And then for Bemidji to come out and beat Wisconsin with Wisconsin's powerhouse roster that they had is definitely a prideful moment, I think, for all Beaver athletics and all people that go to Bemidji.
Now we'll transition to having some fun here. Messiest girl on the team.
Messiest girl on the team. Oh, probably either Kara Worth or Lydia Passolt. I'd have to say is the messiest. Not sure why, but they always have their stuff figured out, which is good. But definitely two of the messier ones.
Now, who runs the music in the dressing room, and is it good or bad?
Depends on what type of music we're into. Usually it's Maya. She kind of plays an all over the place type of thing. So that's kind of nice during game days for different people that want different types of stuff. Um, but if we want like a rock, uh, kind of like old school type music, then Claudia Verkirky will end up playing some music, or Grayson. But I'd say usually Maya plays it, and she's got some pretty good songs. We listen to similar stuff, so I can't complain about it too much.
Loudest in the room and on the ice.
Oh gosh. In the room, it kind of depends on the day and what mood all the girls are in. And then yeah, like I said, I don't know if I can necessarily pick out just one girl that's super loud, but there'll be some days where there'll be a couple girls that are just absolutely just on cloud nine for some reason, had too much caffeine or something, and they'll be freaking out, jumping around the locker room and in the weight room and stuff. And then there'll be other days where they're just super quiet because they're tired, and then somebody else will end up being the ones jumping, dancing around, singing. And on the ice, it kind of depends on what situation. For like chirp wise, probably me for being the loudest, and I have a tendency to just scream if things are going well, things aren't going well, trying to get people pumped up for practice and stuff, because obviously as the season goes on, it can get a little repetitive um, with anything. But yeah, probably on the ice, I'd have to say me. It's a lot of stupid stuff, but just try to keep things nice.
Now, something that's kind of become huge over the last year of this pandemic is TikTok. So, best and worst TikToker on the Bemidji State women's team.
Oof. Well, I don't have TikTok. Tried not to get into that. I had Vine way back when it was a thing, but there are quite a few girls on our team that enjoy doing TikToks. I'd have to say, oh gosh, best and worst would have to be our freshman class as a whole. When the girls do it individually, it has a tendency to be a little iffy, and then when they do it all together, it looks really good. Kerrigan Dowie might be up there for worst. But I know like Paige Beebe makes quite a few, so those ones always make me laugh at least. But yeah, our freshmen definitely love in the dorm room to make TikToks all the time, so it gets a good chuckle.
Most likely to forget something on an overnight trip.
Careworth, easily. Uh, for our tweezers one time, forgot her shoes another time. Um, she always ends up finding stuff. But yeah, I'd have to say her for sure.
Now, you guys were in the middle of the season when the NHL came back, but do you have a favorite NHL team, and how excited are you to see NHL hockey back every single night?
I might get some beef for this, but I love the Chicago Blackhawks. Live in Minnesota, but I'm a Hawks fan, and I am very excited that NHL is back. Being able to watch games, being able to see just different players and get different stuff out of them. I know our team. I'm sure a lot of other teams do it, but we take a lot of NHL clips for our videos or different types of NHL tricks and stuff and different skills to work on. So that's awesome to see. And obviously the Blackhawks the last couple of years haven't necessarily been the best, but there's always going to be a time where it'll change and go back to how it was. So I'm just super excited for that.
Now, if you were on the selection committee for the men's and women's team for the Olympics next year, who would you choose?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. There's so many good girls, so many good guys. I don't know if I could say that right now. I'd have to get a big list in front of me and then be able to go through and watch. Either way, the American team's gonna do pretty well. So can't complain about that.
Now, tough news coming out of Canada yesterday. The Women's World Championships got canceled. They're looking to move them, I'm pretty sure. But just take us through it when you heard that news and how devastating it was as a women's player to kind of hear that those girls, and including Arian, who was on the American team, didn't get that chance to play.
Yeah, definitely that one stings more than a little bit, especially with last year being. I was actually gonna go and watch last year, just knowing a couple of the girls on the team and wanting to support and everything. But seeing all the men's teams from U18s up being able to play, and then the women's getting canceled the day before when they've been working for over 2 years for this opportunity, and some people for the first time, some people for multiple times. I mean, it's the same feeling. So obviously that sucks, and it's one of those things that it is kind of is what it is. But I definitely think that there should be plan Bs or other options put in place. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they'll be able to play later on and um, actually get that chance to represent their country, both the U.S. and Canada. I mean, both girls and all the other teams that are there. I have a couple friends that play for Germany and Slovakia as well, and they're kind of in the same boat where they've been training for so long, and then for it just to get ripped away last second, I don't necessarily agree with, but um, I can't do much about it. So yeah, it definitely stings, and I feel for those girls, and I just hope that in the future they learn from this as a whole and can be able to play when they're allowed to play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously tough. You've got 10 countries coming in, they're going to be in a bubble. And the research I did yesterday showed Nova Scotia had 25 COVID cases. So I don't really know what they're scared of up there, but
I'm not sure either, but I guess rather be safe than sorry with that type of stuff.
yeah, exactly. Now, someone that has been huge on TikTok for women's kind of rights in the NCAA from the March Madness tournament was Sedona Prince, with the weight room and the food thing. Just talk about as an NCAA athlete, what your reaction to those videos was.
Yeah, obviously men's and women's sports are continuing. The gap is still shortening, but there definitely is still a large gap, and it was evident with that, which coming from a female athlete, that does suck to see. It is nice that they ended up getting a better facility and better options, but it shouldn't be like that in the first place. And I think that as time goes on, like I said, the men and women's will continue to diminish with that gap, but we women and men just have to come together and realize that we all want the same thing. We all want to be able to play. We all want people to enjoy their experience that they're getting and not be treated necessarily differently than any others just based upon whether they're male or female or whether it's even with sports as well, because I know that even depending on sports, there are some where I don't necessarily know any specific at the moment, but there are certain sports that get treated less professional than others. So hopefully that changes as well in the future.
Now, for the freshmen that are coming into Bemidji next year, what's the best set of advice you could kind of give them?
Ooh, enjoy it. Obviously, it'll go by very fast. We just had our team banquet last week, the week before, and it was definitely hard one to go through, being that you don't think it's going to be you when you're coming as a freshman, and then 4 years later, you're the ones that are leaving. Fortunate for some of the girls with this COVID year, and boys, they're able to go back another year, which is unbelievable. But yeah, definitely enjoy the moment, work hard, and um, try not to overthink too much.
Now, this season you had a C on your jersey. Just take us through the honor that was.
Yeah, definitely honored, humbled, and very grateful to have that for me personally. I don't think a letter should mean a whole lot, being that every person in the room has different leadership qualities that are definitely going to contribute to the team, and it's more of a know your role type of situation. Um, but yeah, I definitely think, well, having it, I guess I could talk to the refs, which I did that a lot before I had it, which I probably shouldn't have done. But yeah, definitely thankful for the girls, thankful for the coaches, and I had three other amazing captains, assistant captains, along right next to me, which was great. And then all those other girls that were in there, if we're not doing something that we're supposed to do, or if we are doing something we're supposed to do, that there's just that accountability and the responsibleness factor. So it was definitely nice to have all the girls kind of get together and everybody be a captain in a sense.
Now, before we wrap up here, predictions for the NHL. Who do you think's going to take the Stanley Cup this year?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm hoping the Hawks do, but I don't know if that's gonna work out. Um, it's kind of up in the air, and I don't know. Wild have been pretty good. We'll see what happens later on in the season, I guess. But there's a lot of people being traded and just got done getting traded and stuff. So I definitely think it might be an end of the season situation where we're not going to even know necessarily who a lot of the seeds are until we get there.
Now, you're from Minnesota, so how exciting is it to see the Wild finally have a bit of success as they are this year?
Yeah, obviously being the Hawks fan, when they play each other, I definitely don't necessarily want the Wild to win, but being able to see some of those younger guys on all teams, but on the Wild, especially right now, being able to pull out a bunch of wins is definitely super cool to see. And I'm very excited to see kind of what those guys do in the future when they become a little bit more veteran players. Um, Obviously the skating of Kirill is unbelievable, and he's just such a fun player to watch. So hopefully they can keep pulling out some wins, and I wouldn't be too mad if the Wild ended up winning it though.
Yeah, Kaprizov is unbelievable. The goal he scored
So
last
good.
literally just dangles the goal. He goes around the net, wraps
Him
it
and
around.
Fiala are doing pretty well.
Yeah, that absolutely. Now, um, not a thing in the States probably, but Canadian division in the NHL this year. Not sure if it's getting shown that much in the States, but how cool is it to see all the Canadian teams go at it?
Yeah, I'm an hour from the border, Canada. I'm only 2 hours from Winnipeg, so I think that's definitely cool to be able to see kind of that rivalry aspect. But the rivalry is pretty much all the time now, being that when you're in Canada and the U.S., but when you're in Canada, you want to be the best of the best, just because there's less teams over up there. So being able to see those guys kind of go head to head is pretty cool.
Absolutely, and I mean I'm a diehard Leaf fan, so
Uh,
hopefully they can keep winning this division like they are. They're
yeah, they're
struggling,
doing pretty well.
but they've been struggling lately. But I mean, everyone's chirping them for losing to the Canucks the last two games after being out for a month. But well,
COVID's definitely played an effect on that as well with different players.
yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, you were in a COVID season this year, so was there times where it kind of became difficult for you guys to be playing games, and did you guys have games canceled at any point?
Yeah, we definitely had a tough start to our season. Our first two series were actually canceled because of COVID. And there's quite a few girls in our team that ended up getting it, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, kind of have to find the silver lining. We were able to play all the rest of our games for the most part after those two series. But yeah, definitely, I think after other teams had 2 or 4 or 6 games already by the time that we were playing, definitely played an impact on that. And obviously, it sucks because were many teams. I mean, even with the boys for their tournament, all those teams that unfortunately couldn't play because of it due to COVID. And even with the girls' side, different teams not being able to play. But the commissions and all the committees put in a lot of work, and even being able to play was definitely an amazing thing. And there are some teams that unfortunately weren't able to play at all, those Ivy schools and stuff. So I feel for them. Know a couple girls out there. Just hopefully this next fall that things are not necessarily back to normal because that'll take a while, but more normal than they were.
Absolutely. Well, on behalf of the listeners, I'd like to thank Makayla for hopping on here today. It was an honor to chat college hockey with you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.